Next up, we have another lovely lady talking to us about the magic of storytelling, the ever-enchanting Dilyana. Her talk is titled From Exploratory Data Analysis to Data Storytelling.
Hello, everybody. Happy Women's Day to all women. My name is Dilyana, and today I will talk about the topic from data wrangle or either to data story. But actually, it's all about the data analysis process. And I had two reasons for this topic. The first one, I graduated from data analyst nano degree from Udacity, and the second reason is I'm often asked what kind of skills are more relevant for profession data analyst and how to deep dive into AI in the year 2000. So, and I decided to talk about this process, which I break into 5 steps. The first one is asking question, then data wrangle, explore data, draw conclusion, and build the data story. So, and I hope that this process will help you to understand how to explore and use your data intelligently so that you make the most of the information you are given, whether you are building your reporting dashboard or analyzing A/B test results, etc. So let's see what each step is about. Asking questions. So data analysis process always starts with asking questions. Sometimes you are already given a data set, which happens always in Tableau community in different projects. Other times your questions come first, which will determine what kind of data you will gather later. And in both cases, you should be thinking, what I'm trying to find out. Is there a problem I'm trying to solve? And in the real world, you often deal with multiple sets of massive amounts of data in all different forms. And the right questions can really help you focus on relevant parts of data and direct your analysis towards meaningful insights. So in this presentation, I focus on data of We Rate Dogs. We Rate Dogs you can find on Twitter, and it is a very popular account that rates people's dogs with a humorous comment about the dogs. I think We Rate Dogs has over 7 million followers and has received international media coverage. So it is very funny page, and I was interested in this data. I was interested in such questions like if breed dogs are more popular than non-breed dogs, what is the most popular name of breed dogs, which tweet has most likes, etc. So this is the data what I will talk about today. So, and I decided to download this data. So my next step was data wrangling. And at first I would like to clarify these two definitions. Well, wrangling and EDA, exploratory data analysis, are sometimes used anonymously because their purpose often overlap. However, when I talk about wrangling, I mean data gathering, data assessing, and cleaning data. But keep in mind that the modifications you make when cleaning the data set won't make your analysis or visualization or more model better. They just make them work. Alternatively, EDA means you will be exploring and augmenting your data to maximize the potential of your analysis, visualization, and models. So let's start with the first step by data wrangling. so data gathering. And there are a lot of possibilities how you can gather your data. So the first one is some kind of advanced method, I would say, because it's all about API. So you just get an API, or if you can code, then you can just scrap data from a web page. The simple method is just used open data sources. There are a lot of them. Or also I like very much this document, this data source of Colnus by McNafflick. She created this document. This is a Google document and everybody have access for this one. And she documented all data sources, and yeah, I think it is really great resources if you are looking for data, or if you have any interested in any topic, just use this document. You have a lot of links here, and yeah, just have fun with the data. And the third method is a very simple one. Just participate in data projects like Make Our Monday, This for Social Good, Sport with Sunday Iron Quest, Project Health With, SVD Challenge, Data for Cause. All these projects you can find definitely on Twitter if you use the hashtag for this project, or in Data World, etc. So for my data on Twitter, I used Twitter API, and what I did is I created a development account by Twitter and got follow access data like consumer key, consumer secret token, access token, etc. And I just connected my Python to this Twitter account and scrapped all the data I need. On this way, I created a CSV file. I have to say that from Udacity, we also get one text file. So I had 2 data files I have to deal with. And on this screenshot, you see a short part of my code. On this way, yeah, I got just the data. I have to say that Python is a good solution for data wrangling. Who knows code? And if you cannot coding, don't worry about this. You can use other alternative. For example, Tableau Prep. And I also use it for this presentation, Tableau Prep, for the next step. The next step is assessing data. So what that means? For this step, I would like to switch to Tableau Prep, and I would like to show you what data assessing mean. So at first, here, I don't know if you know Tableau Prep. If you already listened to another presentation, then you may have a great impression what Tableau Prep mean. But in a short, I can say that Tableau Prep, it is yeah, a light version of ETL tool, and I use it for transforming the data. So I connected Tableau Prep to these data files I have. And at first, what I did, I assessed the data. That means that in this tab, for example, it is just a very simple step. I think it was like, yeah, insert step. And then I have this view, and it is a great view. This view gives me a lot of information about my data. I see, for example, that I have 17 fields in my data with a around about 2,300 rows. The column timestamp here gives me information about the time period in my data. I can also see the type of dimensions and measures, like here, for example, ABC state for string, this is data, and so on. In the column tweet ID, for example, I can see the bar chart here on the right. The length of the bar chart is the same in every row. So I can check it here if I go down. So it looks like I do not have any duplicates. In the column reply to status ID, I see a lot of null values. So, and what that means, if I click on it to the null values, I can see other rows in my data where I have null in this column. So there is a lot of data with null in this column. So I will not delete this data. So be careful about this. Keep in mind how you just manage these null values. And also I cleaned data. Sorry, I have to go back to my presentation, and because I have here one tip for you. If you assess data, it would be a very good behavior or a habit if you just document all quality mistakes and tidiness of the data, what you just noticed. For example, in the data I had, I noticed that not every dog is a breed dog, or not every tweet has an image. In the column name, I could find 109 entries with lowercases, etc. And tidiness. Tidiness, it's information something like the dimensions or measures have to have correct data types. All dogs' names should be entered into the column name, etc. So if you do this kind of documentation, it will give you a great overview about data quality, and it is some kind of checklist if you clean data. So you just can just mark what you have already cleaned or not. So cleaning. Cleaning I did also in Data Prep. This is the screenshot. And I will not go through every step in details because of the time, but I would like to describe it shortly what I did. So I started with formatting the measures and dimensions. Then I checked the missing data. And well, as you have already seen, I have a lot of missing data in some columns. And missing data is a common problem when you work with data. And this issue should be handled differently depending on several factors, such as the reason those values are missing or whether the occurrence seems random. So first of all, check out if there is a dimension or measures what I missed. And if this is a measure, then one way of handling them is inputting them with the mean. And in the missing values, if the missing values is dimensions, then you have to check out if it is necessary to have all values, or is it okay for you to have these missing values. So otherwise you have to understand the logic of these missing values and fill them manually, or for example using regex or using some coding. So, and yeah, for me it was very easy to create this flow in Tableau Prep because I don't need any coding and I exclude all the bad data, and here I created some hyperfile for Tableau, and it is very cool thing actually, because I could connect Tableau directly to this hyperfile. So now I would like to switch to Tableau, and I would like to show you what was my next step, because my next step was data exploration. So what that mean? First of all, I connected with this hyperfile I created for Tableau, and here I see all my dimensions and measures. And exploration means that you just go through the dimensions, what you're interested in, and just try to get a first impression of your data, about the context of your data. It is really important that you understand what kind of data you have, what is context. So to make some exploration analysis and explanation analysis. So exploration analysis, that's mean that I just had a lot of questions and I tried to answer them. For example, which name is most common, or which breed are most common, which names are popular for golden retriever, or favorite counts over time. That's mean favorite counts, it's mean likes over time. And here it is also very interesting to see that I have data for counts from 17 November 2015 until I think 1st August 2017. So just keep in mind that I have here one whole year, 2016, and some months of 2017 and 2015. So it is very important by further data analysis. For example, here for the heat map, the question is, when do people Twitter mostly? So on this heat map, I would say, yeah, people Twittered mostly in November and December. But if I exclude 2015 or 2017, as I had only some months from these years, and look only on 2016, I have completely different picture, you see? And I will go back and select all. I have this picture, and now I have completely different picture. So it is very important to understand on which of time period I'm looked at. So then I looked at the days, on which days people assign, like, and retweet the post, or what time people usually do assign a like or retweet the post. And here you can see that people usually are very active afternoon. I looked also at the correlation between favorite counts and retweet counts. And I see this positive correlation, what is actually logic for me. Then I analyzed the timestamp, and with this chart I can see that I do not have all data. I have here, for example, some spaces. That means that I do not have data for every day. So it is also good to know. And After doing this exploration, I can also do an explanation analysis. Explanation analysis means that I explain some events, what I explored, which are interesting for me. In my case, explanation analysis, I don't know, it is not really necessary because all things are obviously, but explanation analysis means that if you have some events and you don't know why it is, maybe you have to check online, maybe you have to Google for these events, maybe you have to find the reason, maybe you have to talk to the people, etc. Yeah, and after all the steps, after understanding what my data is and what kind of data I have, I can create the first visualization, my dashboard. And this was my dashboard. So it is very simple one. It was just only for me, for myself. What do you see here? You see here we rate dogs. You see here the time period. You see here 3 questions, which breeds were most common, which names was common for the breed dogs, and the correlation between favorite feeds and retweet actions. And also I add some call to action in order inform people how they can act with this dashboard. So here I can see that in my top 10, the golden retriever is on the first place. And then I can see here the names. But it does not mean that golden retriever has the common name Cooper. You have just select this one, and then you can see the name, the most common name for golden retriever. You also see the picture, how it looks like. And if you look to the correlation, for example, to this one, then you can see this tweet actually, and how many likes and how many retweets has that tweet. You can go further and look at Labrador Retriever and explore other data. So I would say this was my data story. So what is actually a data story? I would describe data story is a focus on some points of context in your data. For example, here I focused only on top 10 breed dogs and show their common names and how popular are the tweets for these breed dogs. And in order to tell a story with data, you have to visualize data, as you already understand. You have to understand the context, and you should communicate your context using different chart forms. And so visualizing data can help you understand the context very fast. So it is important that to visualize text, to visualize data, and not use only context or tables. So with visualizing of data, you can understand the information much faster. And by using Tableau, you always build a dashboard as an end result. And sometimes people ask me, why should I build a dashboard? Is it not enough to build one chart and put all the information to this chart. So I can understand that for the people who are not deal with data visualization daily, who do not create a lot of dashboards, maybe it is difficult to understand what dashboard is and why should they do that. That's why I would like to use a chance here and explain why should I create dashboards, because sometimes a single plot cannot convey all the information in the data set, like on this dashboard. Well, I represent top 10 of breeds in the data, the common names for different breeds, and also likes and retweets. So it is a lot of information, and it is helpful for me to understand the picture of my data. However, if I try to put it into a single plot, it gets to the point where you won't find any insights at all. And this is where data dashboards come into play. So dashboards allow you to interact with your data and view multiple aspects of your data, all in the same visual environments. But also think about the data representation on your dashboard. Think about what type of chart is the best choice to communicate your message. Think about what is your question. For example, here, I just lose my idea. For example, here I would like to look at the amount of likes, and I would like to know in which month I have most likes. So for simplicity, I just used 12 months on the traffic. And if I want to know which month had the most likes, the best plot would be a bar chart or Pareto chart, as this would be the month in order from highest to lowest numbers of likes. And each bar is a number of likes for a particular month. And it is pretty easy to see that July 2017 had a highest amount of likes. And if we want to know if number of likes was increasing over time, so the best chart would be a line chart. But it is easier to see that overall traffic appears to be increasing just from changing in the bars to the line. So just play with your data, try out different forms, and think about if this form gives you an answer correctly to your questions or not. And this is all what I want to talk about today. I will upload this workbook on my Tableau public, so you can find all chart here. And yeah, if you have any questions, just contact me or just use these possibilities now. Yeah, otherwise I would say thank you and pass back to Lorna.
Great, thanks, Dilyana. Do we have any questions for Dilyana? There's nothing in the QA, and there is nothing in the chat. Great presentation though, I really enjoyed that one. We have Chris at CloudStream coming back on at 4:45, which is in 5 minutes time, and he's going to be going over the 2019.1 features. That's exciting. So we'll be back in 5 minutes.